Today's BJP is not the BJP of 2010s. Back then, it was a party. Now, it is an airport. Leaders keep arriving from every direction. Congress, TMC, NCP, Shiv Sena, Aam Aadmi. You name a party, I'll name a Neta. Now what happens when thousands of ambitious politicians gather under one roof? Unity. Kya baat kar? First, let us talk about the old school BJP worker. Kattar Hindutwadi, Kattar Sanatani, born BJP blood. The one who spent 30 years distributing pamphlets, shouting slogans in the rain, and dreaming of a pure ideological dawn. Today, he's sitting in the back row, watching a guy who was abusing the party last month take the oath of office in the front row. The loyalists got the sanskar. The turncoat got the sarkar. Right now, the roof is strong because the central pillar is unshakable. But underneath, the ground is vibrating. Egos are clashing in whisper networks. Grudges are being filed away for future reference. It is a pressure cooker with a very tight lid. The steam cannot escape. The whistles aren't allowed to blow. But the heat is rising degree by degree. But we don't say it, do we? Why? Well, because power is an excellent stress reliever. Nobody wants to rock the boat when the boat is carrying government contracts, ministerial bungalows, and Z category security. When the stomach is full, the conscience is quiet. And then there is another small issue. Agencies, AD, CBI, income tax, the holy trinity of political self-reflection. The more corrupt the leader, the more obedient they are. They may forget the election promises, but they never forget where their files are. Everybody knows governments have information, lots of information, even their colorful files. Do you know what I mean? You see, a politician can explain away a missing 500 crores as a clerical error or a political conspiracy. But how do you explain a hidden camera angle to a family, to your children, to the Kattar voters who think you are a saint? You can't. So people calculate risks very carefully, especially when the ruling party is at its peak. Now compare that with Congress. A Congress leader rebels. What happens? He joins BJP. A TMC leader rebels. What happens? He joins BJP. A regional party leader rebels. What happens? He joins BJP. A BJP leader rebels. And then, where exactly is he supposed to go? The opposition? Band baja dega Amit Shah. Before you can even announce your rebellion to the media, the municipal corporation will discover an illegal structure in your backyard. A local court will issue a non-bailable warrant for a case from 1998. If you are inside the tent, you are protected with the highest walls. If you step outside, it doesn't just rain. It will pour legal notices. So you stay. Even if you hate the guy sitting next to you. Even if you think the High Command is ignoring your 30 years of loyalty. You swallow your pride. You praise the system. You chant, Modi, Modi. But here's the catch. This entire machinery of fear and absolute control runs on a single fuel: power. As long as power flows from the top, everybody behaves. The ambitious behave, the opportunists behave, even the future rebels behave. Because there is more to gain by waiting than by fighting. But imagine, just imagine a different result. A result nobody expects. What if in 2029, I know, Ganesh Kumarji is there for the rescue. But just keep him away for a moment. Just imagine a result nobody prepared for. What if the hands holding them no longer have the pens to sign the warrants. That is the day the real show begins. When the thousands of imported leaders realize there is no one left to wash their sins, the revolt won't be a whisper. It will be a stampede. Because victory unites strange people. Defeat introduces them to each other. The Congress import will remember his secular roots. The regional strongman will remember his regional pride. Memories will return at an astonishing speed. Some very old phone numbers will become useful again. The airport will become crowded, not with arrivals, but departures. The Congress turnports will suddenly remember the deep ancestral love for Nehru. The TMC defectors will hear a distant drum and remember the lyrics of Khela Ho. The Khas Admi will remember how to be the Aam Admi again. The BJP has spent the last decade building a fortress, a very impressive fortress, but a fortress built partly with stones collected from other kingdoms. Borrowed stones have a habit. They remember where they came from. The day the central pillar weakens, the pieces will begin searching for their original homes. It is gravity. Santulan Niyam, the law of equilibrium. Nature simply refuses to let anything stay at the summit forever. The higher you build a monument on a borrowed foundation, the harder the earth pulls it back down. Congress went through the exact same script. We too had the absolute ecosystem, the institutional grip, the royal aura, the unshakable arrogance. Leaders who thought the country couldn't breathe without them. It wasn't merely a political party. In its time, it was the political atmosphere. It was the default setting of India. Prime ministers came from Congress. Chief ministers came from Congress. Governors came from Congress. The opposition existed mainly to lose respect for. And yet, the giant cracked. The ecosystem shattered. The system collapsed. And the Malba of the grand old party spent the next 3 decades scattering into regional dustbins. Time is a cold historian. It sits in the corner with a stopwatch, watching the giants build their towers higher and higher, knowing exactly how many seconds are left before the ground starts to shake. You can look at Aurangzeb, the 6th Mughal emperor, a man who ruled for nearly 50 long years. From the mountains of Kabul to the deep rivers of the south, he conquered everything. He absorbed everyone. In 1681, he packed up his court, his army, his treasury, and marched into the Deccan. One campaign, then another, then another, then another, kingdom after kingdom, enemy after enemy, victory after victory. He spent 25 long years living in tents, sieging forts, breaking regional kingdoms, and absorbing political rivals. He thought he was building an eternal monolith, but he wasn't building an empire. He was stretching a rubber band. And rubber bands have a Niyam. The farther you stretch them, the harder they snap. Then came 1707, a lonely tent, Ahmednagar. The stopwatch stopped. Aurangzeb closed his eyes. History opened its notebook. And the moment the central pillar disappeared, the cracks became visible. Governors became rivals. Successors became enemies. Regions remembered their own ambitions. The giant that looked eternal from the outside started falling apart from the inside. Within a few decades, the mighty Mughal Empire, the absolute ruler of the subcontinent, was reduced to a symbolic figurehead inside the walls of Delhi. The Malba of the greatest empire in India was carried across the map. Because that is the thing about power. Power hides contradictions. Power suppresses disagreements. Power keeps everybody standing in a straight lane. But the moment power weakens, people remember who they really are. And history begins collecting its strength. So if you look at today's political map and see an unshakable fortress, just remember the Niyam, the law. Remember the stopwatch. No matter how big the airport gets, no matter how many netas check in, you can never defeat gravity. What goes up surely comes down. चढ़ता सूरज धीरे धीरे ढलता है, ढल जाएगा, ढल जाएगा, ढल जाएगा.
The rising sun step by step goes down and it will fade. चढ़ता सूरज धीरे धीरे ढलता है, ढल जाएगा. चढ़ता सूरज धीरे धीरे ढलता है, ढल जाएगा.